Medical technology output growing nearly 13% with higher export demand. The sector was weighed down by pharmaceuticals. It slid nearly 25% on year against last year's 140% spike in output. On the flip side, precision engineering output logged the highest growth at 20.4%, buoyed by strong global investment in semiconductors. An expert says Singapore's manufacturing outlook remains positive as global economic activity picks up.
COVID-19 risks for last year and most likely for this year as well will likely be a factor that will drag the domestically oriented industries rather than the external oriented ones. From the global standpoint, what is new today compared to April 2020 was the vaccine-driven hope of a recovery. With the uptick in global growth, Singapore's externally oriented industries will likely be one of the key drivers for growth.
The marine and offshore engineering sector is getting new guidance on digitalizing its operations and equipping staff with the right skills. The sector's new industry digital plan will help in two ways. Small and medium enterprises will get a step-by-step guide on digital solutions and staff training. Firms can also tap on an online self-assessment tool that will help them understand and identify gaps in their digital capabilities. The new plan is expected to benefit about 1,000 firms and 75,000 employees. Speaking at the launch of the IDP, Minister of State for Trade and Industry Low Yen Ling urged companies to take the first step to go digital if they haven't already done so.
We understand that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Every one of your journey is quite different, and we acknowledge that. And that's why we want to share with you that every digitalization journey is different, with each journey that's tailored to your specific needs.
Singapore plans to deepen collaboration with Sweden in areas like digital economy and sustainability. Trade and Industry Minister Gan Kim Yong says it will help the economy recover from the pandemic. Speaking at the Sweden Southeast Asia Business Reset Summit, Mr. Gan also invites Swedish firms to seize opportunities and use Singapore as a launchpad.
We are interested to partner Swedish companies to help them grow their sustainability-related businesses and nurture promising sustainability-related industries in Singapore. We see an opportunity for Swedish companies to capture growing demand for industrial energy efficiency solutions in Singapore and ASEAN.
A ride-hailing platform, Grab, will raise its base fares permanently by $1 from next Tuesday. It says it's part of measures to help drivers through the current period of heightened alert in Singapore. The increase will go directly to its drivers only for the month of June. To ease the crunch on commuters, Grab is also offering $1 vouchers during the peak hour rides for the first 2 weeks of June. Grab says the last time it reviewed transport fares was 2017, although it had implemented a platform fee of 30 cents last December. Other measures for drivers include rental rebates and incentives to take on delivery jobs. That's your business update for now. Back to you, Don.
All right, thank you, Liz. Singapore is looking to partner Qatar and other countries in the Middle East to tackle climate change. Speaking at the Doha Forum to an online audience of nearly 200 people, Sustainability and the Environment Minister Grace Fu says that these countries face similar challenges and cooperation will be key to overcome them.
Climate change is ultimately a global challenge that small countries such as Singapore and Qatar cannot solve alone. While Singapore is responsible for 0.1% of the world's carbon emissions, we are disproportionately affected by the 99% that others emit. Tackling climate change needs a global solution.
Ms. Fu says good climate practices should be shared between Singapore and the Gulf region. She cites the investment in solar energy as an example of how Singapore and Qatar can work together. They can also team up on clean energy solutions as they work towards a low-carbon future. She further lists green growth and resilience as potential prime areas for cooperation to deepen ties between the countries.
Speaking at another event, Ms. Fu calls on private firms to consider long-term climate risk and not only quarterly pressures. She says governments have to partner corporates and people to realize sustainability. The event includes identifying and test-bedding new technologies and redesigning cities to make them more resilient to climate change.
My advice would be for all of us in that role, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a CFO, whether it's a CEO, to step back from time to time and really look at a 10, 20, 30-year horizon and ask ourselves, what are some of the risk factors that will affect our businesses, our legacy for the next few decades? And I think climate change, climate risks is one such factor that is no longer a question of if. It's really a question of how much.
The maskless woman in the viral Marina Bay Sands video has been arrested again. Poon Choo-yuk will also be remanded at the Institute of Mental Health for 2 weeks for psychiatric assessment. The 53-year-old was handed another 6 charges today. These include one for not wearing a mask outside the state courts yesterday. She had a trial scheduled for not wearing a mask at Newton Hawker Centre during last year's circuit breaker. She is now also charged for the incident at MBS 2 weeks ago when she questioned the credentials of a safe distancing ambassador. Other charges include breaching her stay-home notice last year after arriving from the UK. She had allegedly left her hotel room during the period on several occasions without a mask. If found guilty of not wearing a mask or not wearing one properly in public, she faces the maximum penalty of 6 months jail and a $10,000 fine.
MediaCorp actor Terence Chow has been fined $3,500 for having 12 people at his condominium last October. During that period, social gatherings were limited to 5 people. The 53-year-old had planned the gathering to celebrate his birthday, as well as the birthdays of fellow actors Shane Pao and Jeffrey Su. He had initially invited 5 guests, but several of his guests invited more people. Some of his friends also turned up uninvited to surprise him. The actor, who pleaded guilty, could have been jailed up to 6 months and fined up to $10,000. Law and Home Affairs Minister K. Shanmugam has described the online Citizen Asia's allegations as malicious when it claimed that police officers had bullied an elderly woman. Police have also released rare footage from the officer's body-worn camera on the incident, which took place last week. Footage shows that the police had bought the woman food and told her domestic helper in English to inform the woman to put on her mask. The elderly woman speaks in dialect. It's rare for police to release such materials publicly, as they contain confidential information. But Mr. Shanmugam says it had to do so to set the record straight. The woman's daughter has confirmed that the elderly person has dementia and may not remember the full account of the incident clearly. She expressed disappointment that her mother was interviewed without the family being consulted. TOCA had recently posted an interview with the woman where she contradicted the police's statements. This comes days after correction directions were issued to TOCA and other parties as well, over posts that contain allegations of bullying. Mr. Shanmugam said the interview did not carry the full context as the woman has dementia. On whether further action will be taken against the site, Mr. Shanmugam says it's too premature to comment.
So TOC, you go and interview her, this old lady, try and get her to say things. I would say this is despicable, and how low people will stoop. Unethical, cynical. This whole exercise by TOC is quite malicious to attack the police. When any police officer does wrong, we charge that officer, take disciplinary action. People who have seen media stories of police officers being charged, they are in fact dealt with seriously. But when they are wrongly maligned, I won't sit by and do nothing.
Still to come, tighter curbs take effect in Malaysia as it reports its highest daily spike in infections. India on alert for Cyclone Yas, the second major storm to hit the country in less than 2 weeks.
This is Game Oji-san. I make YouTube videos. While he does bespoke carpentry, I get up close with a new generation of local craft people.
Whatever it took to become a woodworker, I think I did it.
Starting with a furniture artisan.
If you ever see